time. I'm sorry.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Monday. I was about to say Wednesday. It's Monday, and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ, along with my amazing co host. Tonight, I have Crystal
Hey
and,
guys.
yes, and Shelly E.
Hi.
All right. Join the conversation by leaving a comment on YouTube or Twitter. We will check the comments periodically throughout the show. And don't just comment, subscribe. If you miss us on YouTube, you can watch us on Rumble or listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Guys, we are an independent media. And if you want to support what we do, your super chats and donations go a long way to helping us produce conservative content. And we really appreciate it. So thank you so much for that. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people. And guess what? We know that these are urgent times and there's a target on our backs because we choose freedom. But we must continue to stand. So let's stand together, subscribe, and help amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off.
Let's go.
Wait a minute. Before we start, I'm sorry. I'm laughing. I must be delirious because I'm tired. But I just, our opening music that we always play. I just laughing when we did that clip or we did that show, and I'm just laughing how I was like, oh my gosh, and your face was like, I don't know why tonight of all nights I must be delirious. I think I'm just tired because it's probably hysterical.
You're not delirious at all. Like it's fun, and I love watching it opening. But I do need to get on that opening.
Yes, you do. We're gonna change it.
We got other clips we can use with Crystal. We got other clips of us with Crystal in there that we can splice it in there.
Yeah, it's not so simple as that, but we gotta redo it. We gotta redo it anyway. So
just happy to be here.
But we gotta keep that. We gotta keep that because that is hilarious.
But speaking of delirious and hilarious, any of you, like, who's bored with the whole Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro thing? You guys?
Oh yeah.
Type in comments if you're bored. It's not helping us.
Yeah, it is. Well, and just in case you guys don't know what's going on next, so now they got into a Twitter spat over the weekend, and so it looks like that they have arranged a debate on the topic of Israel and anti-Semitism. They have not put in a date yet, but they plan on Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens are going to debate one another on their differences over the Israeli conflict, Israeli-Hamas conflict, and the idea of the definition of anti-Semitism. So it looks like it was called upon by Candace Owens, and they just have to narrow down the specifics of when and where. And they're supposed to debate, actually, while we are all supposed to be unifying against Biden, they are picking a fight with one another. So
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's getting old, and I wish they would just.
Shelly, what you always say about conservatives?
Leave it to conservatives to mess up a good thing. We definitely know how to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love healthy debate, and I think it's great to discuss and the issues and debate the issues. We do it here all the time, but it does feel like their little spat is much more personal. It's pointless and it's personal, which makes it messy.
And they're never gonna agree on it. And it's just
exactly.
Girl, didn't you say you was free, Candace? Go be free.
Yeah.
I think at this point it becomes now, it's more of, it's not just so much a debate, a healthy debate. It's more of, I want to prove that I'm right.
Yeah. And that's never healthy, but
no, anyway. It's not. So we'll continue to watch out for that, and we'll definitely keep you all posted on the ins and outs of that. If you're interested, that would be something. Comment, let us know. Are you guys still following this story with those two?
Said, I will not. A wound said it's getting old.
It's getting old.
Said I will not be witnessing that. And Balance Shed says, enough. We don't have anything to prove. We don't have anything.
Yeah. I already pictured. You have two fast talking, high pitched, arrogant,
Yes.
Who are just in their own corner. Neither one of them is really interested in hearing what the other says. So
no.
Anyway.
But we are still, but we are still focused on the left and defeating them in November. Hopefully, the presidency and the House and the Senate. And speaking of that, we want to point out all of the crazy leftists and the things that they say. And that brings us to my current video. You guys know actress Jennifer Lewis. I think she was on A Different World, the series, the spinoff.
I think she was on there. She's a good actress.
Yeah. She's a Broadway actress. She's a singer. She's been on several sitcoms in the 90s, early 2000s. I think she was on Blackish also.
Yeah.
Well, she flipped out. She flipped out over Trump today. I think it was either today or yesterday.
It was annoying.
And I wanted you guys to see this and get an understanding of the insanity of these people. So this is her going off about Trump and the possibility, we pray that he is reelected. Take a look at this.
And we do nothing. We sit on our couches. Oh, I don't believe in voting. You fucking idiot. If that man gets in.
Talking about Trump.
I know. I did.
As soon as he takes the oath, he will have generals walk down the steps of the Capitol. He will take a hammer and break the glass where the Constitution is, and he will tear it up in our faces.
He did none of that when he was in office, by the way, ma'am.
I'm the king of the fucking world. You will bow down, bitches.
Crazy.
He will punish everybody that didn't vote for him. Let me tell y'all how I know this shit.
Blacks believe that.
I know it because I know what mental illness looks like.
Yes, you.
It looks like you.
Mania is unstoppable.
It looks like you. That's why you know.
Oh, I did see that.
This motherfucker's Hitler.
Mind you, nothing in his history says that. Nothing.
I was no good.
All right. First of all, she is not acting.
She's not.
She is crazy. She is serious.
Oh,
but
she's
you know what?
serious.
She is the majority of her demographic. I mean, all these black aunties and these older people where they already raised their kids and they don't care about the future of this country and they're working a 9-to-5 job and having to worry about like the end of their lives is just like her. Like seriously.
Yeah, first of all, anybody that looks like a combination of Cornel West and Joy Lee or Joy Lee, however you pronounce his wife's name, Spike Lee. Anybody looks like a combination of that. Number one, that's crazy. Number two, yes, she's a great actress, right? But the thing is with these actresses and actors, these leftist ones, they actually do live in their own head. So they think that what they are acting out is real. So she is serious. She is completely serious and she's completely insane. She in her head, the script that she reads, whatever, is real. So she's really expressing what she's really thinking and believing. Crazy. That's why she knows what it looks like, because she looks at herself every day in the mirror.
Well, she's following a script. I mean, like I said, her demographic, the older black.
No, she believes that.
They all follow the same sheet of music. I don't know. There's nothing in his entire history that says that he's like Hitler. He was a wonderful president for 4 years, and he could have locked up your girl, Hillary, and he didn't. He has been the opposite of everything that President Joe Biden, everything they said Trump would do, President Joe Biden has done. And they keep attacking him because they are counting on black people to ignore their lying eyes, ignore their pocketbooks, ignore their grocery store bill, act like it's normal to pay 15, 16, 1700 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, that's what they're asking us to do.
Yeah, thank you, Angie. She told me I said Spike Lee's wife, but that's his sister. But she still looks like a combination of Joy Lee or Joie Lee and Cornel West. Thank you, Angie.
I just remember her from, you remember when Winnie, when they had to go to the court and he was like, when you say jump, I want you to say how high. Jump. Jump.
Yeah, but like you said, they're following the leftist talking points, because on the left, I'll watch, just to see what they're doing every now and then. But there are people, and I know people, who watch them religiously. MSNBC is on the TV in the homes of these Democrats all the time, and all the MSNBC pundits do is stoke fear. They have been saying that if Trump is elected, he'll be a dictator, it's the end of democracy. They have been saying this over and over again, and their electorate are sheep. And they believe it. They don't check this stuff. They don't do independent research on their own. They sit at home with CNN and MSNBC on all day long, and they're getting themselves riled up like she is, or they get scared and then they go out into the world like crazy neurotic freaks.
Exactly. Yeah. I watch, let me tell you, I watch Morning Joe religiously, like for comedic relief. Like, I sit there and I watch it and I am laughing hysterically because they twist everything that Trump says around. But yes, you're right. Like, they are watching it religiously and they're soaking up all the lies, not even checking to make sure it's true. They're not even fact checking it against their own experiences.
Right.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Half of these Black people out here have not even experienced racism in the last 10 to 20 years. Okay. And I'm one of them. And the ones who say they have, it's generally, once you dig in to ask them questions, well, what happened this? What happened to that? It wasn't racism.
Nope.
It wasn't racism. I'm not saying that racism does not exist.
I'm saying it doesn't. I'm saying that it doesn't.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there are evil people in this world. But predominantly, most of us don't experience it on our days.
It's so few and far between. And, it's nowhere near as dominant and predominant as the left makes it.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. If you meet 300,000 people in your lifetime and you meet one racist, by math standards, you are at a 0. So that means there's zero racism. So don't say that one person that you met in your entire lifespan of 40, 50 years, you remember that one time that somebody was mean to you and you say that they're racist, because your batting average means that it's 0. There's zero racism.
Yeah, exactly. I want to acknowledge our super chatter here. Thank you so much, Justin. He says, we survived the eclipse. Yes, we did. So he says, just wanted to say everybody looked wonderful on the recent photo shoot. Real women, real voices. Oh my. He says, and never following a script. Blessed week to you all. Thank you.
Yeah, real hips. I got to lose some weight, y'all.
Oh, girl, come on. You look beautiful.
I watched the photo shoot.
Yeah, most of these photos of these people you see on magazines, it's all filter, it's touched up. We released the photos that were not moved. There was no touch-ups on those photos. They were the real photos. And listen, we had a good time. And it's not about what's on the outside all the time. It's on the inside. It's what's here and here. And half of the people you see in these magazines and online on Instagram don't have anything here.
And they nipped and tucked.
Right, exactly. Nipped and tucked.
Cut, pulled, stretched, everything. I'm telling you. And infected.
I know.
Yeah. All right. So moving right along, thank you guys so much. Again, we do appreciate our super chatters. Thank you so much for every donation. It really helps to go towards us doing more with conservative content. We also do stuff in the community here in Baltimore, trying to push the conservative cause. Believe it or not, I think it is growing. We do have a small faction of conservatives here in Baltimore and Maryland. I know a lot of people say Maryland is a leftist state, which it is. But we can't be quiet. We got to continue to stand, confront them respectfully, but boldly. No more sitting on our hands. No more, staying quiet. We need to speak the truth because that's what they need to hear it. They do. They just need to hear it.
For sure. Without a doubt.
All right. So moving right along, we're moving along now to South Carolina. So Sunday's triumph over Iowa gave South Carolina's women's basketball its second national championship in 3 seasons and its third with Staley at the helm. That is the coach. The Gamecocks finished this season unbeaten at 38-0, and they have won 74 of the past 75 games they have played. The one loss, a stunning upset to Iowa in 2023. They have now formally avenged. Over the past 3 years, they are 109-3. Dawn Staley, the head coach of the undefeated South Carolina women's basketball team, said on Saturday that trans-identifying players should be allowed to participate against women as long as they consider themselves to be a woman.
She's a fool.
Look. Yeah, take a look at this clip of her saying this, and then want to get you guys' response.
Who's facing sports right now is the discussion topic about the inclusion of transgender athletes, biological males in women's sports. I was wondering if you would tell me your position on that issue.
What?
I'm under the opinion of
Black girl magic.
Of what?
Of what? You should play. If you consider yourself a woman and you want to play sports or vice versa, you should be able to play. That's my opinion. You want me to go deeper?
Do you think transgender women should be able to participate?
That's your question you want
basketball?
me to ask. I mean, you want to ask, so I'll give you that. Yes. So now the barnstorm of people are going to flood my timeline and be a distraction to me on one of the biggest days of our game. And I'm okay with that. I really am.
What is she talking about?
She's talking about now everybody's going to be talking about this over her win.
Believe it. She was like, dang, I hope they don't ask me this question. She didn't believe it, but she was giving her marching orders like the Democrats usually are.
Well, that's what I wanted to get your response. I mean, do you think she believed it, or do you think she's just saying that to calm, to just be on the left?
No, you talking about as far as letting the dicks pretend they chicks?
Yeah. Do you think she actually agrees that these biological men should play?
No.
I don't think she does, because she hesitated too much with trying to answer, or it was like she was trying to come up with the words that she was supposed to say, right? I don't think she believes that. But she's going to do what she needs to do to stay in her job. And actually, I think she's doing a disservice to the girls that she actually coaches. Yeah. So, in her position, see, this is what I don't understand. When you are in a position to exert real leadership, why not? Why not? Because I would say this. Remember, I keep saying this is the year of the Black woman. Even if she had said the non-politically correct thing, as a Black woman, her job is still pretty much secure because she has a winning team. So on her skills with a winning team, she could stand on that. But she's too cowardly to even just come up and say, no, I coach girls.
Exactly.
Men don't belong here on this court. Men have their own court.
And they knew, and she know they would have run her out of there. Like that's the thing
think
about
so.
being a Democrat or a Democrat is that you don't get to veer off script. She was so uncomfortable because one thing that we know, you guys, we are conservatives, you guys, but we spend a lot of time in Black spaces. And there is one thing about the Black community. They're not with that trans stuff and they're not with that gay stuff, men and women. They're not. They accept it, don't get me wrong, but they know that it's wrong. They know that it is something that God did not make. That is something that's universal in the Black community, in my opinion. However, what's also in the Black community that we don't like to talk about is a lack of integrity. She would not allow herself to say something that was really true. And as you mentioned, Shelly, like say something that will protect her girls and would make her girls really proud of her. She would not do that because she was beholden to the people that keep her employed, keep her salary, keep her sponsorships, and all of that other crap. And it's really sad. I'm sad to see her go out like that.
You know what, honestly, I have to disagree with you guys. I think she did believe it. I think she does agree that biological men should play against women. And I think she does it because it's not due to her saying it because she doesn't want to get canceled. She's saying it out of ignorance. She does not understand what is actually going to happen to these women that play against the men. Now, she comes from, I believe she was a very good athlete, a very good player when back in the day when she was playing. And I think a lot of times her generation believes that they are unstoppable. And once this starts happening, because it hasn't happened in basketball. We've seen it in other sports. We have not seen it happen in basketball yet. But it's coming. It's coming.
Oh, no.
And once it does come, and these men start knocking the mess out of these women on the basketball court, like a Draymond Green, you get a Draymond Green up there with a wig and or braids or whatever, knocking the mess out of these women, throwing them all across the basketball court. That's when they're going to wake up. Look what happened here. This was in Massachusetts. A high school girls basketball team reportedly had to forfeit a game after a transgender player on the opposing team injured 3 players. Look at this crap.
Like a rag doll. She looked like a
Except this video showing boys playing on girls' teams is anything but fair. It's dangerous. This isn't about the suspected transgender kid. It really isn't. We should all have compassion for anybody, or however they would like to be identified for fairness. Guys,
look,
there's nothing fair about getting beat up on a basketball court where the referees live in fear of trans activists.
Just knocking her all over the place. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I blame the moms. I blame the moms.
I mean, again, I think she believes it. But to your point, because I've been saying for a couple of years now that these dicks who are pretending that they're chicks, that they are going to hurt real women. Okay, and I hate even saying real women, but just for the sake of this argument, they're going to hurt real biological women. But in this case, because to your point, KJ, it hasn't happened to a Black girl yet, a Black basketball player. When a Black person gets knocked the hell out, a female gets knocked out by one of these dicks pretending to be chicks, it's going to be all hell on that court.
No, I don't think y'all cannot convince me. The reason why there was the part that let me know. So I already thought, because the way she hesitated.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I thought that she didn't believe it. But then she said at the end, now all of y'all people are gonna flood my timeline before a big game. So there you have it. Look, like she's like, so she knows what she's saying is controversial. And if she was not required to say it, because she wasn't required, you guys, I've seen those interviews where she's like, don't ask me that. I talk about basketball. Don't ask me about my opinions about that stuff. I talk about basketball. I've seen people say that, but she was required required by the people that she's beholden to answer that freaking question. She felt very uncomfortable answering it.
Right.
And she
Well,
should. She
Yeah,
should.
it just it makes me angry because when you have women, I don't have a problem with women being in a leadership role, except for pastors. I wouldn't sit under one, but I don't have a problem with women being competent, doctors, whatever the case may be. You do the work, you earn it. I don't have that problem. Not coaches, but when you have the position and then you are afraid to, and not only just are you afraid, but you have people who are looking up to you that you won't even protect the like you said, the integrity. You won't even protect them.
Yeah.
This woman, listen, she believes it. This woman is cuffed up with another woman that probably looks like a man, and she wants them. She doesn't care. She feels like that she'll be able to play against these men on the court. And she's probably within that whole lifestyle. She probably had, and she doesn't want to offend. She doesn't want to offend.
I don't think she believes it.
There's no way, you guys. There's no way.
But I agree with you about when they get hit.
She would have answered that question like a bout it chick. If she would have been like, yes, don't, but she didn't. She didn't believe it.
Well, we will continue to follow it and see. My prayers go out to any of the young ladies that are playing on these courts with these biological men.
Stop playing, you guys. Women, stop. You stand for nothing. You fall for anything. Oh, well, I work so hard. So what? It is not worth your soul. It's not worth you being injured. It's not worth it to prove a point. You should all drop out and let the gays and the trans fight over who's going to get the ball when it's just 5 of them on the court. You fools. They fools.
All right. Well, we had to move on. We'll move on here to crime. So talking about here locally in Baltimore City, we're talking about the local mayoral race. So many of you may know or have seen the Baltimore City mayor on national news talking about the collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge recently. We have talked about it on our show. Talking about this, how he's been, pushing this DEI. He came out on Joy Reid's show talking about that. He's, very leftist. He's very leftist. Well, there is a mayoral race going on. The election here will be in May. Is it May?
May 14th.
Yeah, May 14th. And he's just got a gut punch today where our newly elected state's attorney, Ivan Bates, has not endorsed him for re-election. And it was a pretty substantial non-endorsement as well. He said he was not endorsing him. He was going to endorse the previous mayor. Now, these are all Democrats, but we have seen a decline slightly in crime here in Baltimore since this new state's attorney has taken the helm. So I want to show you guys this the interview today, the presser, and then get your response. Makes sense. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on this. That was scathing.
You cannot. How many of you have ever tried to reason with a snotty-nosed, tantrum-throwing 3-year-old? You can't do it. Okay, you pick them up by their collar if they outside, wherever the grocery store, and you put their little asses in the car seat and you take them where you as the adult, right? That's number one. So Ivan Bates, thank you. I'm going to go on the record on this show. He made an announcement today. I'm making an announcement. I have not voted for a Democrat in over 20-something years. He will be the first time I vote for a Democrat this year in Baltimore City as the state's attorney. He's not on the ballot, but when he comes up again, I will be voting for Ivan Bates.
Oh, wow. Now that's breaking. So, I like hearing tough on crime policies. I like that. Now, we have been following the previous state's attorneys. We were right on that from the time she entered office up until when she was removed or she failed to get reelected. thank God. But her entire tenure, it was a reign of terror. The time period that she was state's attorney, she stopped prosecuting certain crimes. Crime skyrocketed here in Baltimore City. She was a George Soros funded state's attorney, like the one in Philadelphia, like the one in Chicago, like the one in LA. They were all on that same kind of restorative justice stuff. And she was on trial for fraud and mishandling of funds.
And
convicted. Yes, and convicted. But she had an awful track record, and she and our current mayor were hand in hand on the same type of rhetoric and policies.
Exactly.
I want to get your thoughts on this, Crystal. What do you think about what he had to say?
Blacks. I'm sorry. The blacks are just messy. I didn't like anything about it. Like, you're in off. You don't know if you're going to have to work with this man. I just felt
you
like
did have to work with him.
I felt like it was unwise for him to do that. I felt like it was messy. I felt like it was unnecessary. You can support her without coming out and saying, you know, all the stuff about Brand. I mean, like, that could very well be his mayor, and now you got to clean up all the stuff that you done said about him. You freaking idiot. Like, I hated everything about it.
Crystal.
Y'all, like, mind you, it doesn't matter to me because this is Democrats, right? So I'm never voting for a Democrat ever again. I'm sorry, I'm just not doing it. Now, what I will say is that the art of the deal. I care ultimately about the people of Baltimore, and y'all have to work together. Y'all have to figure it out. And so, how contentious is that relationship going to be? Is if he still wins and then Brandon wins, now you got all this messiness, and the people of Baltimore suffer.
He still prosecutes the crimes. He's independently voted, and if Ivan Bates, unless a Republican is on the ballot the next time, unless if the Republican's on the ballot, I will vote for the Republican. But if not, which we haven't had one, if Ivan Bates is on the ballot the next time and there's no Republican, I will be voting for him. But he is independently elected. He does not have to report to Brandon Scott. He does not. Brandon Scott doesn't report to him. I mean, he works with him in as much as they all in Baltimore City. He is independently elected. He has Brandon Scott does not sign his checks. Brandon Scott does not hire him nor his staff.
First of all, firstly, this is not new. State's attorneys have endorsed different candidates in the past.
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, today was a big endorsement day. Not only did he endorse Sheila Dixon, the former mayor.
Right.
Also, Senator Van Halen endorsed Brandon Scott, and Ben Cardin endorsed Brandon Scott, which we know why. They are under the thumb of the Biden administration, which Brandon Scott is under the thumb of them. This was very telling. It tells that there is, even though I don't support Democrat policies, there is a slight split within these Democrat parties. Sheila Dixon is one of the old school Democrats. They were moderate blue dogs, what they used to call them, where, they weren't crazy. They believe in, some of the things that they have difference on issues, but
more moderate. They were more moderate.
Crime, right? Yeah. And so,
I don't disagree with what you're saying, KJ. What I'm saying is because it's different if he's the incumbent. Brandon Scott is the incumbent, right? Why make it like contentious? Why make it messy?
Why he's doing a horrible job. It's hard for someone like him to stand up for the people of Baltimore. What would you have him do? Sit and be quiet while this man is elected and he's doing harm to the city? No, ma'am.
Standing up for the people of Baltimore does not mean endorsing Sheila Dixon.
Yes, it does. She's going to be tougher on crime. Yes, it does. And Not only that, a few days ago, this is a little bit of the backstory. Brandon Scott was, if you want to say, unprofessional. When he had a little spat with him, he comes out to announce the raid that happened over in West Baltimore with the 20 young people, the gangs and thugs in a clubhouse. He should not have done that because he jeopardized possibly the legal case that Ivan Bates is trying to prosecute. So Brandon Scott and his little pissy, another little snotty-nosed 3-year-old self, because of his arrogance and wanting to get out in front of this man, compete with him, he's possibly jeopardizing people. Innocent people more people can die and be harmed. Ivan Bates is taking the lead. He's the prosecutor. Brandon Scott is just being pissy.
And that's what it is. And it is a big issue because Brandon Scott is upset because he is not getting any of the notoriety or fame, not fame, but what is it? The attention for the crime being lowered. And it is correctly so. People are saying the crime in Baltimore is slightly falling due to Ivan Bates' tough on crime prosecution and the state's attorney or U.S. state's attorney that we have here in Maryland. Tough on crime prosecution. It has nothing to do with Mayor Scott, who is all for this restorative justice.
Defunding the police, and if he's not defunding them, he's damn sure trying to deball them basically and get them off the street and tout this phony GVRS program.
I wasn't sure what that was. Did you know what
group violence program? Group violence reduction.
Yeah, that's what we talked about. That when he came out with that big platform, Brandon Scott, his policy. That's one component of his policy. That crime plan that he came out with 2 years ago.
So he's saying that doesn't work.
No, right. So there's some coinciding since Ivan Bates came on, but Brandon Scott is touting this. It includes safe streets. It includes Life Bridge, all these non-police entities because he wants to keep emasculating the police department. But Ivan Bates is saying, no, we need to prosecute these people. And he may have, not saying it's guaranteed, he may have jeopardized that takedown that they did because he wanted to be in front of the camera and tout GVRS and ahead of Ivan Bates when it's a legal proceeding going on.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with anything that you guys are saying. The only point that I'm trying to make is the people of Baltimore suffer when these people make it like messy and cruddy. And the facts are is Brandon Scott is the incumbent. So for the next, however, 26 more days, like they have to work together. And so for him to come out and endorse and making it messy and making it drama, he could have done the same thing by just not endorsing anybody. He could have literally said, I'm going to stay out of this.
It's politics. And
like they say, it's not something new.
But no, it's not. And not only that, but he probably
weighed. But that's not saying much.
If he weighed the risk assessment because Sheila Dixon is far ahead in the polls. So the likelihood of Brandon, it's more likely for Sheila Dixon to win right now. She's much farther ahead in the polls than Brandon Scott. So he probably looked at that, then looked at and weighed how much his endorsement would assist her campaign, particularly when you have the U.S. senators endorsing Brandon Scott. He's figured, what, it's worth it. And it is. I feel like it was very worth it.
I do too.
Here you have your partner in crime within the city. He has a very high approval rating right now. Ivan Bates as state's attorney for the city or district attorney for the city. He has a very high approval rating. He's tough on crime. And to show the difference between he and the current mayor spoke volumes to me. It spoke volumes.
Yeah.
I'm for one half.
Okay, Chris, I'm not saying you have to believe him, but you know what? In my mind, they say all politics is really local. Well, Ivan Bates is like the Donald Trump of Baltimore City.
Yeah, and saying KJ and respectfully to you, saying, oh, it's not new is not saying much about Baltimore. We do need somebody that.
Well, it's not just in Baltimore. It's anywhere. This is something that happens all over the country where
I have not. I personally have not seen that.
Seen what?
A state's attorney endorsed the new
With an incumbent, and then they endorse a different person that usually they just stay out of it. I have not seen it messy like that. It only happens with the blacks.
Trump
No.
Trump is always
Trump was not running for y'all. He was not in office. Y'all keep attacking him for his record in New York. He was not in politics.
No.
I'm not endorsing.
No, what I'm saying, a person, a business owner can endorse whoever they want.
Right, okay.
An elected official to do that is messy.
No. I'm saying that when Trump was in office as president, he would endorse people outside of the incumbent running all the time. I mean, he was known for that. People would be shocked that he was endorsing someone who wasn't.
He had to work with them, and it's not the same. But I mean, okay,
I get what you're saying, though. I do get what you're saying. But all right. Well, we'll see. We will continue to follow that race. Again, the election is in May. I certainly want that he is voted out. The current mayor, Brandon Scott. He's on a tour right now talking about the bridge, trying to get attention for that.
Dante said they already aren't working together, so what's the difference?
Right, exactly.
You say I can see.
All right, so we are continuing. We're moving right along to New York City. So now we are talking about New York City, particularly what's been going on. So there's been a rash of violence against women in New York City. Women are speaking out about this trend of being assaulted on the street. People are running up to them, walking up to them as they're walking in it, throughout NYC, and just punching them in the face. It's really awful. And we have here Mayor Adams was talking about the violence here this weekend. Take a look at this.
Blame it on TikTok, and now there have been 2 arrests?
Yes, despicable. They better hope that I'm not out on the street when I see that takes place. It's unbelievable that you see the corrosiveness of TikTok, not only for teaching people how to steal cars, how to ride on top of subway stations, trains, but just this pervasive, negative, antisocial behavior. And for a woman to walk the street, I have 2 sisters, it's unacceptable to be punched in that manner. Now, this version of TikTok is not displayed in China. China, which puts out TikTok, you can't have this in their country. That is why we're going after social media companies.
So we do see these incidents happening on video.
Well, we've seen a few in this.
Look at the woman in the middle looking at them.
We see this trending when someone sees something on TikTok, Instagram, or one of these social media platforms, they duplicate this behavior. And there's a real correlation between the negative actions and what people are seeing trending on social media.
All right. So I'm confused on this. What does that have to do with this? First of all, I don't know of any trend on TikTok pushing this. Do you all, Shelly?
No, I heard about it based on this, but I haven't seen it myself. I think
you have TikTok.
Again, this is nothing more than progressives, Democrats, the left denying the reality that they work to create. Right? These policies where they don't want to lock up the violent criminals, they want to, tap them on the hand, let them go through the revolving door, no bail, all this kind of stuff. They don't see the connections and how all these things feed in to make the quality of life not just poor, but now dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, they have said overall crime in New York has fallen. Police reported a decrease in shootings, murders, and other crimes like grand larceny as opposed to February of last year, but attacks come amid a statistical rise in misdemeanor assault. According to crime statistics for the past week, misdemeanor assault is up 10.3% from this time last year, and it has gone up 15.7% in the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on this, Crystal?
He sounds like a fool. Like, TikTok is to blame. First of all, they can put on and share with whoever they want to, because it is really embarrassing to walk down the street and have yourself being have someone punch you in the face.
Right.
And it's so, you know what makes me so mad is that these are white women. You ain't going to try that on no sister girl because you will get drugged down. But you remember, like him sitting up there blaming TikTok. Why doesn't he take a position of him wanting to protect his citizens and say, if you punch a woman in this in my city, it is going to be a hate crime.
Right.
You're going to get double the instead of him saying, hey, putting out his own TikTok video, he should say, hey, just so you know, from the mayor's office, if you punch a woman in my city, you're going to get this. You're going to wish you hadn't. He's blaming the victim.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this was, it appears to be some type of hazing, maybe gang initiation that goes on.
Maybe.
Whatever it is, these people that are doing it are so brazen, they don't believe that there's any accountability or repercussions to their violence.
Exactly. To your point, now you said about crime overall going down. That's the same thing that's happening here. It's happening across the country in certain cities, right? But the violent crime has gone down, while the other basic, if you want to call them quality of life, misdemeanors have increased. Not only that, a lot of these leftist mayors, prosecutors, they have reduced and made the misdemeanor. Well, I'm going to say they reduced the charges, I guess, but they've made the what do you call it? The penalty, the fines higher. So like in California, instead of stealing 500 and getting slapped with a fine or maybe some kind of felony, now you can steal $1,000 worth of stuff and still walk away with it. So the quality of life, Marilyn Mosby here in Baltimore, we just talked about her. These are the kinds of crimes that she refused to prosecute, while the citizens of Baltimore were at the mercy of the thugs, basically.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, and what are you doing to protect the city? Like, this is clearly targeted to white women. Like clearly this is targeted. And so for you to not see that and say, hey, you're not gonna attack and target anybody in my city the same way y'all did with Stop Asian Hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you allow these white women, unfortunately, to just walk down the street and feel unsafe and get punched in the face? Like,
I'm surprised they didn't call it a hate crime.
It's privilege.
Oh, okay.
This is white women are privileged to be the first to be attacked.
They should call it a hate crime.
I'm not with you. I'm not.
I'm not either. But that's the kind of stupid nonsense that this leftist push.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. They should call it a hate crime.
Yeah, and you might have something there. You said, Shelley. Recently, Fox News reported the Coalition for Law, Order, and Safety, also called CLOS, found true crime rates may actually be higher than FBI statistics show. CLOS points that methodological and reporting problems as the possible source of the discrepancy. So, for instance, the CDC reports nearly 20% increase in homicides nationwide from 2019 to 23. According to researchers. Meanwhile, FBI data shows an increase of only 8.3%. Right. So there may be some disconnect, some misreporting there.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you guys, we've been in professional spaces where we've looked at spreadsheet. You can make the data whatever you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Like I was a financial analyst for a few years, and what do you want the data to look like? If you want it to look like this, I can make the data look whatever. And
it does depend on the methodology that they're using to get all of the different, samples and, whether they come from this area and what they're including in the sample. It does make a difference. But the thing is that even if, let's just say for the sake of argument that violent crime is down, the people do not perceive it to be so. So when they go to the polls, I don't care what Brandon Scott says, what's his name, New York mayor says, Mayor Adams says, I don't care what they say if it's down, because the people who are actually living in these places don't think so.
Yeah. Well, it says here, another part of this whole clause is, as police saw fewer crimes, prosecutors convict fewer criminals, and even fewer offenders go to jail, victims lose faith that justice will be served, so they don't bother reporting the crime, and real crime vanishes into thin air.
No, it ends up on TikTok. Real crime ends up on TikTok.
Yeah,
you cannot count what you don't report. So if it's not reported, if it's not recorded, they don't count it in the statistics. The numbers will automatically come down.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, personally, you know, I live in one of the safest areas, was actually the safest area, one of the safest areas in Baltimore City for 20 years. And within the last, I'd say 10 years, 5 to 10 years, we have seen exponential crime. I mean, we've never had someone break into on the street where we live, into the homes there. Now we have that. We've seen squatters. There've been all sorts of break-ins and muggings, things like that. That was not the normal here where I live, and now we've been seeing an uptick in that. So I personally know that there's been an uptick in crime. I don't care what anybody says.
You can look at it like,
yeah. So, and it is sad that this is going on, but hopefully people are taking note of this and are pushing back against the narrative that's being pushed by Democrats and these leftists and voting them out, you know, but in the same way, they have to have an option. You know, that's why I applaud people like Kim Klacik here in Maryland who push for conservatives to run in these cities, in these urban areas. Because a lot of times what's happened, or what it seems like, is the Republican Party has forgotten about these metropolitan areas. They've just said you'd wash their hands with it, which I totally get, but so goes the city, so goes everywhere else.
Yeah, but they got to get creative. Like conservatives, y'all have to get creative about how to market yourselves to these constituents. They're people just like you, but you got to get one-on-one with them. Like,
Crystal, I have said for you, and you know what the creativity is? It's called being real and using, if you will, people like us who live and breathe the city. Stop these damn games that, we don't look the conservative. We live here. We talk to people. We know Black people. We know people in the city. Get the hell out of here with that mess. That's why I said, don't start me on our state politics, because I'm already upset with our state politics right now.
And I mean, and conservatives, they just say the same talking points and they haven't figured out how to talk. Like, I'm sorry, when you go to people in the city and say lower taxes, that doesn't really correlate. It doesn't correlate the same. They don't even, you know what I'm saying? That's not something that speaks to them.
Well, because half of them don't work.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we have to change the whole mindset, honestly, because a lot of people are on this sort of mindset. What can I get for free?
Yeah, that's what I said. Like, so low taxes to people in the city, like all you just thinking is like, oh, you want low taxes for the rich, and they're not even thinking about their tax. They're getting taxed way more than the rich. They're not even thinking. So you have to get creative about the things that they care about.
It don't even require a whole lot of. They don't even require.
They care about their children. They can. I think that is something that we can all agree that rich and poor people and rich people, we all care about our children.
Oh yeah, but I'm saying the creativity. I hear what you're saying. I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with you as far as creativity, but to me, it doesn't take a brain surgeon, right? I tell people, pull out your pay stub and just look. Let's just go over your taxes and see pull out your last year's income tax and see what you actually paid or where your money's going. Basic questions that any person will be able to understand. It doesn't have to sound fancy. You don't have to use big words or whatever. Be real with people.
Yeah, I mean, but you can be real with people, but a lot of people don't work. They just don't work, and they don't want to work. I had a friend who was assisting at a job fair here in Baltimore City just a couple of years ago. He was assisting at a job fair, enrolling people and things like that, going over resumes. And you cannot, there were so many people that came into this job fair and they had no intention of wanting a job. It was part of some type of requirement for them to get aid or unemployment or some type of assistance. And it was just like, well, look, I'm just here, you know, so you can just fill out this form. And I just want, I don't want to, if I do get a job, I don't want to make too much because then they're going to cut my benefits.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what it is. We have to get out of this mindset of the government has to do this for me. The government has to do that for me. And it's hard because there are some people that really depend on that government check.
We should talk about this on the show. We should talk about this as a topic because I hear what you're saying. And just as those people are incentivized to stay on the government dole, there are incentives to get their asses off.
Yes.
And so we need to use those incentives to get them off. And we have too many times we have people, you know, oh, well, they poor me kind of people. No, they're not. They need to be working. They need to be making an income, paying for their bills, and whatever else that quote unquote real people have to do. So I think we should talk about that because I think it's like a double-edged sword, if you will. But
it's a social issue, meaning like when most people are at home and not working, then that is the status quo. Yep. But if you start to build these people and understand and talk to them like from a standpoint of, hey, did you know that your schools are like this and you see your kids going to school, what kind of future do you want? Like you have to talk to them a little bit different because they don't understand low taxes. Like KJ say, a lot of times they're not even paying taxes or they're paying very little taxes. So you have to like talk to them like the what's in it for them. Yeah, you're right, KJ. They strategize like, oh, I can't work this again. And they only do that because, like Shelly said, they're incentivized to do that. But what about if the Republican Party or the people that are running on the Republican ticket or independent ticket thought of ways to kind of because work brings dignity, and
exactly
they want dignity. They don't even know they want it, but when they get it, they're going to appreciate it. But when you take a whole culture of people and you dumb them down, you don't educate them, they don't know, all they know is welfare. They've seen their mama on welfare. Everybody they know or is close to is home hanging out on the block. Yeah, I don't want to be at work for 8 hours either. So you just almost it's going to take a huge cultural shift.
I got a real good example.
But the lockdowns made it even worse.
Yes.
Because during the lockdowns, they started giving money to younger people. Well, I used to hear people, young, like 20-something, 18, 20-something, saying, oh, no, I got to wait. I'm supposed to get a check. This is young people. Do you know what I was doing when I was that age?
Working.
I was working. I've been working since I was 14 years old.
I wanted my money. I got to beat. I was working at 10. I was packing bags at Key Food, trying to get money. Money.
I got I'm going to say it's probably going to be called a racist creative. Last year, your chicken box was $3. This year, your chicken box is $6. How much inflation? What's the percentage of inflation?
That's 50%. 50 plus. Yes.
That's what we call inflation.
Yeah. Like they get food stamps so they don't feel it at the grocery store.
But you know what though? I know adults. I'm serious. I know adults who are professionals who may have that. Some of them have their own business, but they get money for their business. They get grant and I had a professional co-worker tell me, because she has a side business. She said something about since the bridge collapsed. She said, they're giving out free money. I said, what are you talking about? I said, you mean to fix the bridge? She said, no, for people who have businesses. And I was like, well, this is what I said to her. She said, it's free money. I said, now, don't you own your own business? She said, yeah. I said, well, you should know there's no such thing as free money. She looked at me and walked away and rolled her eyes.
Oh, I wonder what she meant. I don't know what she meant by that.
They don't know. I hear very professional people that work full-time jobs, and they're like, "Oh, I got my refund from the government." I said, "Did you not understand what refund is? Like that's your money." They're like, "Oh, I didn't think about that." Like, there's no free money. The government doesn't sell trinkets. They don't make any money.
Mr. Pony, 6th grade.
Yeah, well, we will continue to follow that. Well, we are here at the end of the show. One thing I did want to touch on briefly, and I know I don't have this lined up, is Trump made an announcement today. So he did declare earlier today that abortion should be left to the states.
Yeah.
He's quoted to say, "My view is now that we have abortion where everybody wanted it from a legal standpoint. The states will determine by vote or legislation or perhaps both, and whatever they decide must be the law of the land." So many states will be different. At the end of the day, this is all about the will of the people, he said. And he took proudly the responsibility of how he put conservative judges on the Supreme Court. He did get some backlash. Pro-life advocates immediately began to express their displeasures with Trump's stance on abortion, which he unveiled after floating a national ban after 15 weeks of pregnancy weeks ago. So then and then there were pro-abortion people who said that it was still too far. So just briefly, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on it. What do you think, Shelley?
In America, you are free to move from state to state to state if you want to have your baby sucked down a sink.
Yeah. Crystal, what are your thoughts on his stance here?
Y'all, conservatives, he can't win on this. Like, he can't win. He's going to hurt the pro-lifers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then he's going to hurt people who want to, like you said, suck the baby down the sink. I think he made the best decision because at first they kept saying he's going to go for a federal abortion ban. He's going to go for a federal abortion ban. And honest to God, you guys, I can't prove this. I think he is. And he has said it several times that we cannot be aborting babies in the 5th month. And I think it's going to be a federal abortion ban. He just kind of he wants to figure out a time. But I do think that he was being true when he said it does need to be left up to the states. He's always said it needs to be left up to the states, but he says some of these states want a 5-month, like you want to abort a 5-month, but I know he's not going to let that stand. I think pro-lifers like myself and all of it, like, we just have to know that this is we're closer to the goal. We're not at the goal, and it probably is going to be a while before we get to the goal, which is a banned period. But we're getting closer, and we need to just take that.
Yeah, honestly, I know you guys are going to be surprised at this, but I don't mind what he said. I figured this. I don't believe he's pro-life. But anyway, that's another conversation. But I think that we're really pushing or standing up for the wrong part of this. If I agree that it should be left up to the states, because if it was a Democrat in office, I don't want them to do some federal ban. So I do agree it should be left up to the states. However, but I don't agree that we should have to pay for Planned Parenthood.
Oh, I agree.
I believe that should be federally subsidized.
I agree.
So I think they should defund Planned Parenthood. That should be the first thing this new Congress does. We as taxpayers should not have to pay for them to abort babies.
Oh, I agree.
A whole nother step. That's what I'm saying. Like conservatives, you guys, let's stay together. Let's stay on track.
I'm with them.
Tell them everything. We don't have to shout out everything. They don't tell us. How are we supposed to know that eventually trans was going to be playing on women's sports? They don't tell us what they're working on. So we need to stop and do some serious thinking and slowly getting closer to our goal, which ultimately is a federal ban. Just like there is a federal ban on murder, there should be a federal ban on the murder of babies. We should not accept it at all, period, from no state. You should not be allowed to kill a human being. However, conservatives, let's keep inching closer. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. Well, that's up. That does it for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, this is our Monday night pop on. So we just go down the topics or the news that came in over the weekend. We will be back on Wednesday for our live show in studio. Hey guys, if you have any topics that you come across that you really want us to discuss and highlight, certainly pop it in the comments and we'll take a look and discuss those topics for you guys. Mm-hmm. So we definitely want to cover the topics and issues that matter to you most. So definitely you can certainly pop those into our comments and we will check those out. All right, final thoughts, ladies. I'll start with you, Crystal. Any final thoughts for tonight before Wednesday?
No final thoughts, you guys, in regards to any of the topics, but I do want you guys to just remember what I said. Conservative, be courageous, be strong. We know the truth. We have the truth. And stick to that. Stick to your guns.
All right. So to add to Crystal's, strap up, stand up, show up, and speak up.
Absolutely. And same here. I'll say just continue to be aware and prepare. That's our mantra for 2024. Absolutely. So be aware and prepare. We are here to wake the lions. So again, we're trying to establish a community of like-minded people to be aware of what's going on throughout this country and prepare for it. All right, until Wednesday, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Yeah.